Thank you, Jayesh. Honorable Justice R.V. Ravindran Garu, Honorable Chief Justice of Telangana, Shri Satish Chandra Sharma Garu, to all the Honorable Judges of the Telangana High Court, to Honorable Justice Shri Lau Nageshwarao Garu, to Honorable Justice Narasimha Garu, to all the distinguished members of the legal fraternity, members of the trade, industry associations, members of the press, electronic media, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I'd like to offer my sincere gratitude and wholehearted thanks to the Honorable Supreme Court Chief Justice of India for his decision to set up the International Arbitration and Mediation Center in Hyderabad. For this act of benevolence, we will forever remain indebted to him. In the last 7.5 years after the formation of the new state of Telangana, Telangana has emerged as one of the best performing states in terms of industrialization in the country. About 6 months into the new state formation, our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao Garu, has taken it upon himself as a first priority to carry out the much needed reforms in the industrial sector. He had conducted a 7-hour-long session directly interacting with several industrial bodies in a very, very detailed manner. Once he got the feedback from them, he had empowered us, he had authorized us to ensure that the best industrial policy is brought in the state of Telangana. For about 2 months, our Industries Department, led by Sri Jayesh Ranjan and his colleagues, has traveled across several countries and several continents, has looked at several policies which have been anointed as the best policies in the world, and have come back to Telangana and have presented it to the House, to the legislature here. After extensive discussions with the industry bodies, we have finally formulated the TS-IPAS, a path-breaking industrial policy, in November 2014. TS-IPAS literally stands for Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. Let me just quickly give you 3 salient features of the TS-IPAS. The first thing about TS-IPAS is it allows for any investor who is investing in the state of Telangana to start the construction of their factory on day 1 without any clearance from the government, be it the local government or the state government. It essentially allows the investor, the industrialist, to self-certify themselves as being in compliance with the law of the land. Only for regulatory purposes, we seek that the investor submit an application online through the TS-IPAS portal. Once we receive an application, all we do is we promise by statute a clearance in 15 days. Now you might say, we have heard this before, the single window, but the joke in India is that while every government promises single window clearance, there are always multiple windows behind that one single window. How is Telangana any different? Telangana is different because if we do not deliver on the 15-day promise, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval backed by statute, backed by legislation. And also, from the 16th day, the Act empowers us to penalize our bureaucracy, including even an Indian Administrative Service officer, to a sum of rupees 1,000 per day if they are held responsible for holding up a clearance. Now, this is something that you will not hear from any state in India. In fact, when I was in the United States a few years ago, I was explaining this model to the KPMG chairman that I had met. And when I mentioned to him that no state in India offers you this kind of facility, he smiled at me and he said, no state in the United States also offers you this kind of facility. So that is the kind of policy the government of Telangana has been able to come out with, which has really catapulted us to the top of the league on the ease of doing business rankings given by Government of India and the World Bank together. For those of you who are wondering, this sounds too good to be true, does it actually work? Let me assure you, I've been the Industries Minister, Minister for Information Technology for the last 7.5 years. Let me assure you that we have given more than 17,500 clearances so far in less than 15 days in the last 7 years. We have been able to attract more than 2,30,000 crores of rupees as investment, and we've also been able to create employment opportunities to more than 1.6 million people, 16 lakh people directly, and at least twice that number indirectly. So this policy not only is good on paper, but it actually works. But the industrial growth and the opportunities for one to invest in India, while they are very attractive, as part of our travel, as part of our efforts to mobilize investments into the state, we meet number of people, number of investors, number of prospective potential clients. The one question that we get asked all the time, while ease of entry is important, how easy is it for us to exit in case there is a problem? Now that is a huge challenge. We focus only on ease of doing business, but what's equally important also is to focus on reducing the cost of doing business, improving the quality of doing business. The focus and the obsession with ease of doing business, of course, is great, but I think it's time for us as a country, time for us as a nation to also look at lowering the cost of doing business. And I think that's exactly where the International Arbitration and Mediation Center that has been conceptualized and now being launched today in Hyderabad is a welcome move from the industry side. The most fundamental logic, as I was pointing out, behind the TSI policy also was that the government implicitly is laying a lot of faith in the investor who are making a lifelong decision to invest in the state of Telangana. Now, if we are also able to give the confidence to the investors that not only will you have an ease of entry, but also in case of a dispute, in case of a problem, you will also be able to exit this situation very quickly. I think it will also help India attract a lot of business. I'm happy that the center will start functioning from the 18th of this month. My request to the CEO and the entire team of office bearers of this center is that you should start popularizing, you should start talking more about the center and its activities, and you should start engaging with the local ecosystem. You should start talking to CII, you should start talking to the federations, industry bodies such as FETAPSI, FICCI, and NASSCOM, HYCEA, and several others. I assure you that Government of Telangana, led by our Honorable Chief Minister, will stand with you arm to arm and will ensure that you will receive all the required support from us, from the government, and we will continue that this institution will become extremely beneficial, not just to the investor community, but also to the state in terms of attracting more and more investments. But I'm also conscious of one very important thing. As was pointed out by Honorable Chief Justice of India in the morning, the center can also help, and as also was pointed out by Justice Nageshwar Rao Garu, the center also can be extremely beneficial to the MSME sector. In fact, as a Minister for Industries, I keep repeating this, I keep saying this. The big boys, the big mega investors, mega industries don't actually need as much support from the government, as much support from the institutions as do the small and medium entrepreneurs. And for this purpose, I would also like to point out that we have set up some facilitation councils, both at the state level and also the district level, to facilitate any dispute redressal for the small and the medium entrepreneurs. I will ensure from my side, and my principal secretary is right here, from our side, we will actually stay engaged through the facilitation councils with the Arbitration and Mediation Center so that we can actually bring about a lot of synergies and so that we can actually help the small and medium entrepreneurs. I look forward to the launch of the center, and I look forward to continued engagement with the center. Thank you very much for this lovely opportunity.